It is part 3, so make sure to watch previous parts also. Vincent's mother asks him how is he able to perform the attack that once belongs to hero Kajin. The protagonist quickly realizes that it was not his father who invites him but his stepmother, because she wants to interrogate our protagonist. Julian gets scared and tells Vincent that he should not say anything because she is able to discern the truth from the lies with her eyes. And if he comes up with any sloppy answer despite having insufficient knowledge about this era, she will easily be able to catch it. Vincent then tells Julian if he should tell her that he is not real Vincent. But Julian instantly declines his idea. Vincent comes up with an idea and tells her that he has received a revelation. But she suspected because he still hadn't received a blessing. And one cannot receive revelation without a blessing unless they are evil. In addition, she also tells him to tell her the truth, or he will have to go through the sacred court trials. However, Vincent replies that if he is truly evil, wouldn't the priest that holds a rank 3 mana crystal recognize it? He also shows her the mana crystal he received from Dullian. He tells her that he learned swordsmanship because now he is able to read some mysterious movements. The patriarch then makes his decision. He tells Vincent that he can continue his martial arts training, but Vincent's stepmother shows her concern that if he uses the hero Kajin's swordsmanship, the Samian family would make a fuss about it and will say that they have stolen it from them. But the patriarch tells her that he has already considered all of this, so there is no need for her to remind him. The patriarch then tells Vincent that he has shown great results at the assembly of the true sword, so he will desire him something he wants. Vincent, upon Julian's suggestion, replies that he wants permission to enter the library. The patriarch allows his request. He also gives him a sword named the Crimson Lotus. It is a sword that the patriarch uses when he was young. Just when Vincent was leaving with his servant, his stepmother arrives and asks him how will he defeat the Crimson Demon. Then it is revealed that if one wants to become a full-fledged martial artist, he must defeat the Crimson Demon. Vincent replies that he still doesn't have any plans. His mother then also explains to him that because of using the strange sword movements his body is not in a good state, and he will die if he fights in his current state. Vincent thanks her for her advice and takes his leave. The next morning, Vincent was in a very good mood. But just then a maid named Sari hit him from behind because she thinks that he was still plotting something behind Vincent's back. But Vincent declines her claims. Inside the room, Vincent seems to be very frustrated because despite getting permission to enter the library, he was not able to find any record from 500 years ago as if they are intentionally taken out. Vincent drops this thought and decides to continue his training because as of now he cannot do anything about it, and he also has to defeat the Crimson Demon. Julian asks our protagonist about his real identity, and Vincent wonders if should he reveal the truth or lie to him. He decides to tell the truth, but when Vincent replies to him, something strange happens that causes Julian to scream in pain. He also was not able to hear Vincent's answer. Just then Vincent spots a book titled First Love with the Water. While reading the book, Vincent discovers that the main character of the book doesn't have imagery, but he has traits. So Vincent decides to keep the book with him. After leaving, Vincent encounters Sari, who asked him whether it is true or notes that he has won the assembly of the true sword. Vincent recalls the memory through which he learns that Sari is the person who gave blind affection to Vincent even if he was a loser. So Vincent decides not to be rude to her. So he explains to her that it is true and recently he started learning martial arts. However, Ravan also appears there. Inside the room, Ravan takes his sword out and tells Vincent that he has come to repay him for the true sword assembly. Vincent thinks that Ravan is going to attack him, so he takes his stance and orders Sari to get out of there. But something strange happened. Instead of attacking Vincent, Ravan apologizes and tells him that he owes him so much, even though he behaves rudely with him, but still he gives him his mana crystal. In past, he always acts like a coward, but from now on he will watch his behavior. In addition, he swears his loyalty to him. Julian told him to not fall for his word, but the protagonist thinks otherwise. Vincent accepts his loyalty, and he too will be by his side until he betrays him. Ravan spots that Vincent now has a Crimson Lotus sword, which means that he had been appointed by the Patriarch. Julian gives Vincent advice to learn the Dwarf King's blessing from him. On the other side, Hylium informs the Patriarch that Vincent is planning to join the Crimson Fortress in the upcoming years. When Vincent's father asks her about the Crimson Demon conquest, she reveals that she wants to inform him about the features of demons, but he didn't listen to her. He was very confident. In addition, she also informs him that Ravan is now living with him. On the other side, Ravan is teaching Vincent how to acquire the Dwarf King's blessing. He recalls the time when Vincent asks him to teach him how to acquire a blessing because till now he hasn't received imagery. Ravan accepts and begins to guide the flow in his body. Julian gets nervous because Vincent is going very fast by risking his life. Just when he was able to control the mana current, the outburst of energy pushes him backward. On the other side, the Patriarch tells Helium to inform Vincent that he must defeat the Crimson Demon in 1 month. Later, Raelsa decides to visit Vincent to deliver the Patriarch's message to him that he has to complete the rite of passage in 1 month. When she opens the gate, she gets surprised upon seeing the current situation. She demands an explanation from him. Ravan gets scared after seeing Rayla because she was a 7-star martial artist. She then tells him about the Patriarch's message. Vincent gets happy upon listening to this because as of now the Patriarch never set time foundation for anyone, which means that the Patriarch has expectations from Vincent. Raelsa then informs him that for 1 month she will accompany him as personal protector. Ravan is worried because according to him it will take 2 months for Vincent to acquire Dwarf Blessing, so it will not gonna easy for him to defeat the Crimson Demon. Later, when Ravan informs him that he will not be able to teach him the Dwarf King's blessing, but just then the protagonist surprised him by showing Ravan the result of his training. With a smile on his face, he reveals his intention to surpass the Patriarch's expectation and defeat the Crimson Demon before the time foundation. 2 weeks later, Vincent goes to a forest to start manifestation of the trait. In addition, he tells Ravan to step back, because there might be an explosion like last time, but Ravan doesn't agree with him, because he wants to witness his success. The protagonist then begins the manifestation and just then the Dwarf King appears, but no one besides Julian was able to see him. The Dwarf King then gives our protagonist, and Ravan informs him that it is a body-strengthening trait. Vincent thanks Ravan for his help, and also asks for another favor from him. 2 days later, Vincent heads out to complete his rite by defeating the demon. Vincent apologizes to Raelsa for the sudden request, but she doesn't mind it. She has only one thing in mind: she had accompanied all of Vincent's brothers and there is none who failed the trial, so she wishes that Vincent wouldn't become the first main family heir to fail the trial. So she tells Vincent to consider it once again. However, Vincent on the other hand has sky-high confidence, so he tells her not to worry. Later, Raelsa asks Vincent if he studies anything about the Crimson Demon, and whether he has any plan to defeat him. Because according to her, Vincent is not a 3-star martial artist, but Vincent replies that the Crimson Demon is a low-level demon, so there is no need for Vincent to study about him. Vincent asks her why she is trying to help him. Raelsa replies that it is obvious to help him because she is the guardian as well as the protector of this trial. Vincent asks her if she is doing all of this to hide budget embezzlement. But if she doesn't want to talk about it, it is fine for the protagonist, because she didn't ask about his training. After a short time, they arrived at the lair of the Crimson Demon, also called the Old Temple. Upon arriving, Raelsa cast a mana barrier that will allow only one demon to pass through at a time. Vincent gets excited upon seeing the Crimson Demon and tells Raelsa to report exactly what she sees to the Patriarch. Just then demons attack the protagonist. Julian gets scared and tells Vincent to increase the distance between himself and the demon. But Vincent doesn't think like that, because if he increases the distance, then it will be advantageous for one with a larger weapon, so he decides to reduce the distance. Raelsa praised his decision to reduce the distance. It is all of Vincent's tactic to make the demon angry because the Crimson Demon has a very aggressive personality, so his neck attack will gonna be full of openings, and it is easy to win against an opponent with lots of openings. Vincent then attacks and kills the Crimson Demon, and looks at Raelsa with a smile on his face. But Raelsa is worried because the reason why the Crimson Demon cannot be defeated with a single strike is that the creature has 2 life. So when our protagonist is distracted, the Crimson Demon revives and launches an attack on the protagonist. Vincent easily evades the attack thinking that it is the same as 500 years ago, but suddenly Demon again attacks him. That surprises Vincent a lot. Because, unlike his previous life, in this era, when the Crimson Demon revives itself, his strength as well speed both no increase. Julian was not happy upon seeing this, so tells the protagonist to change plans. But Vincent not gonna do that, because the Crimson Demon is still using the same strategy, that is to corner the protagonist to launch the ultimate attack. When the demon will use his ultimate attack, Vincent plans to play his trump card. On the other side, Raelsa was in dilemma because she wants to help the protagonist, but if she helps him it means the failure of the right, and it might end Vincent's future because he will become the laughing stock for everyone. Raelsa recalls the time when Vincent's actual mother named Sarvana offers Raelsa to join her on the adventure of martial arts. Raelsa is from a ruined family, therefore Raelsa joins her to become Adanka's legend. But after a few years, Sarvana died after giving birth to Vincent, and as Raelsa feels indebted to her, so she decides to always protect her child from the rough life of being a child of Adanka's direct lineage until he becomes a respectable martial artist. But day by day she starts to lose hope on him because he was just a useless child. Return to the present, just when a crimson demon attacks the protagonist, something strange happened. Ravan appears in front of Vincent and stops the demon's attack, which surprises Raelsa a lot. But the thing that surprises her more is that the protagonist starts meditating in such a situation. Ravan is also very excited to fight against the demon. He even declared, if Vincent fails to defeat him, he will be his prey. Just then the crimson demon transforms Ravan's excitement into fear by breaking his sword. But Vincent suddenly attacks the demon and kills it. The protagonist thanks Ravan for his help. Raelsa congratulates Vincent but also tells him that she doesn't think that the patriarch will be happy with Vincent getting help. But Vincent then tells her that the subjugation Raelsa now sees was for Ravan to prove his resolution. Vincent will prove his worth after defeating another crimson demon. Vincent then eats mana crystal to increase his body performance. Vincent then attacks the demon and kills him in a single strike. However, Vincent's body is also in a very bad state. Suddenly everyone got surprised because a relic guardian appears, and it is far more powerful than the lowly crimson demon. That is the end of part 3. If you enjoyed the video, please like the videos and subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos.